Hello everyone, uh, welcome to our ITarian Power Up webinar session. Let me introduce myself first. This is Ilgaz. I am the product manager of ITarian Endpoint Manager, and I want to thank you all for joining our webinar session today. The content of this session is a little bit more to talk about the main functionalities for those who just started to use ITarian. And help them to become masters of the product. And we will continue our webinars regularly on a weekly basis. And also we will talk about different things, different topics in upcoming sessions. Also, we will hold separate sessions focused on the questions you ask about the topics that you want to learn in more detail. Therefore, we kindly ask you to share your questions with us at the end of the session. Also, you can ask your questions directly from the forum, which I will be sharing the link with you from chat. So please don't hesitate to ask your questions over there also or you can also share your suggestions about what we should cover on our upcoming webinars. So today we are going to talk about procedures, and the topics that we will cover will be first, we are going to see how to create a custom script procedure, and then we will configure the role-based access control for procedures, and then we will create a operating system patch procedure, and then we will move on to third-party patch procedures. Then we are going to schedule a procedure to be automatized, and also we will see how to apply auto-remediation upon a monitor is triggered, so that when a monitor is when an alert is triggered by the system can take an auto-remediation action, so that the alert can be turned off automatically. So, as I said, please hold your questions until the end of the session. Then we will talk about your questions and I will try to answer all of them. Okay, then let me share my screen. Okay, so first, let's try to create a custom script procedure. As you can see, this is the main page of ITarian Endpoint Manager, where you can see the overall statistics about your devices. So for procedures, there is a configuration templates menu, which we use all our configuration. We do all of our configurations from this menu. And under this menu, there is a procedures submenu. When we click to procedures, it will show all the procedures that this portal has. As you can see, there are a lot of predefined procedures, which is more than 400 or so. And also, we have a public website which we include all our scripts. You can find it from scripts.itarian.com. I am sharing the link over chat right now. You can find a lot of scripts and use it on your portal. So let's create a custom script procedure first. As you can see on top most hand side, there is a create option, and when we click to it, it shows three options. We can either create script procedure, patch procedure, or third-party patch procedure. We will cover all of them. So let's create a script procedure. It asks for a name. So let's create a disk cleanup procedure. When you click create, it opens to the procedure details page, which opens in general tab. As you can see, there are 5 tabs in this page. The first one is the general tab, where you can see and also change the name, description, the folder that the procedure is located at, and also there is an option to use the alert settings when the procedure is failed to be run on any endpoint. On View Procedure tab, it is where you define your procedure. The procedures that we support is based on Python scripts, and you can define almost anything using Python script. So let's type some script here. If you would like to use parameters as it is defined, you just need to enter this command and choose a parameter name, for example, path, let's say. And when you save it, the system automatically recognizes the parameter that you have chosen and asks for some additional information about the parameter. So you have to type enter the type of the path, let's say string, and you have to give a label, a human readable label, so that it can be chosen when the procedure is tried to be run. So let's label, and you need to add a value for it. For example, C private I chose, and then you need to save the procedure. Once the procedure is saved, it does not mean that it can be executed over endpoints. There are some additional checks that has to be done if we want to execute this procedure. As you can see, there is a button here which sends the procedure in review phase. This means that the procedure is written and it has to be validated by another administrator on this portal. When we click to ready to review, another 2 buttons become visible. One of them is approved and one of them is decline. So when the related person validates the script, they can either approve the script or decline the script. Once the script is approved, it is ready to be executed on any device. But if the script is declined, so let's show that also. It means that something is wrong over the script, and it means it has to be rechecked and it has to be fixed before it is able to be executed on devices. As you can see, the run procedure run button is disabled because the script was declined, so it has to be changed. So until a change and review is done again, the script cannot be run on any endpoint. So let's change something and send to review again, and then related person can approve or decline again. I want to move to the role-based access control for scripts, because it is really important that since the script is manually written by the administrator, it has to be carefully reviewed and only approved if there is nothing wrong, because you can almost do anything with scripts, I mean procedures on your endpoints. So we strongly suggest you to give separate permissions to people who creates and edits the scripts and who approves it. So let's go to the role-based access control for procedures. As you can see, there is users menu, which we configure our users, give permissions, take permissions, assign roles, etc. So under that, there is role management, and this is the place where we define our roles and assign the roles to our users.
Lucas, sorry for interrupt, but I think your screen is not visible for some of our participants.
Ah, okay. Let me share my.
Can you see the screen?
Okay, let me share my screen again.
Okay.
Can you see it now? I think Pedro and Ron.
Okay, I think.
Okay, good. Then let me go back, and if you would like, I can describe how we can create a custom script procedure. So let's go back. Anyway, let's create a new script. Okay, from procedures section, it is where we can see all of our procedures. And when we want to create script procedure, we just click to create and create script procedure. We give a name. And on general tab, we see the name of our procedure. We can change it if we want. We can add a description, or we can change the folder that the script is located on. And also we can change the alert settings. It is used when the procedure is failed to be executed on any device. And on view procedure tab, this is where we write our script. So let's type our script again and click save. And then we need to send our procedure into review, and the related person or people will review it and approve or decline. So if a procedure is tried to be executed on any device, it has to be approved first. So let's approve the procedure. The next tab is about the scheduling of the procedures. Here you can see all the profiles that this procedure is scheduled. I will show also how to schedule a procedure later on. And here you can see the execution log of the procedure on every device separately. And here on parameters section, we configure our parameters if the procedure has any parameter. You can define as much parameter as you, as many parameter as you can, and all you need is to use this syntax in order to be able to configure your parameters. As you can see, it automatically detected the parameters, the two parameters, and asked for me to define those parameters. So let's go back to role management section. As I said, here in role management, we define all our roles and permissions and assign the roles to users. So let's try to see, for example, technician role. As you can see, the role permission tab has some collapsed items, which represents the left-hand side menu. And there are, for example, on dashboard, there are some permission set only related to dashboard items, and so on. So in order to configure and configure the role management for procedures, we need to go to configuration templates, and under that there is a configuration.procedures, which is the general permission to see procedures tab, and under that there are separate permissions which are create, edit, delete, approve, get report, and execute. So, as I said before, we strongly suggest you to give separate, create and approve permissions to different users, so that once a procedure is created by a user, it cannot be approved by the creator of the script. But it's of course it's up to you. So this is where you define your permission set about procedures. And also on top there is an access scope section. This is where you define the role to access your customers or not. It means that, for example, if I deselect ABC Managed Service Provider customer, it means that I cannot run any procedures or do anything on the devices that are located under this company. So I won't see any of the devices that this company has, and I cannot run any procedure. I cannot see any information about those devices which are under this customer. You can choose to enable the customer or disable. And also on Assign Users tab, this is where we assign this role to users. So here you will see all the users that this portal has, and by clicking to this link, it will assign the role to this user. And after assigning a role, you can remove the role from this user by clicking the Remove from Role button. So let me continue with the other topic. So let's try to create an operating system patch procedure. Again, we navigate to procedures. We click to create and create patch procedure, and we give a name again. Let's give apply important patch as a name. And it again opens in general tab. We can edit the name. We can use alert settings. We can choose to send the resulting logs by email. Either it can be sent to current user, it can be sent to any kind of emails if you want. You can enter more than one email here. You can type anything that you want. And also there is an option to use some alert when the procedure is pending for reboot. It means that when the patch are applied, some of the patch needs a reboot of the endpoint. In that case, it will throw an alert and it will warn you to take an action on the endpoint. On execution options, this is where you select which kind of operating system updates that you want to be applied to endpoint. So let's choose only important security updates and click save. As you can see, you can choose critical updates, definition updates, feature packs, other updates, and also service packs, tools, update rollups, and upgrades. And you can learn more about those definitions from Microsoft site. Let's click save. And on the third tab, it is the restart control. As I said, some of the patches require a reboot. In that case, you can either force the endpoint to be rebooted automatically, and you can choose the time here. You can suppress the reboot, and also you can warn about the reboot and let the end user to accept the reboot or postpone it. And also you can choose a custom, you can type a custom message as a reboot message, which will be shown to the end user. But the default message is this. So if nothing is typed here, this message will be shown on end user. As same as script procedures, again, there is a schedule tab, which we can see all the profiles that this procedure is scheduled. And also execution log, it will show all the executions of this procedure on every endpoint with some additional fields, of course. As you can see, there are no approval for operating system patches because there is nothing that the administrator has done. So they just chose some options to be applied. And since it is not a custom written thing, we don't need to get an approval from any administrator. So it is once the options are chosen, it is ready to be used immediately. So let's move to third-party patch procedures. Again, we go back to procedures. We hit the create button, and then we select create third-party patch procedure. Again, it asks for a name. We can add description if we want, and we will choose folder. And here it's almost the same with operating system patch procedures, but the difference is on execution options. We have two options here. We can either choose to update all applications, or we can type which applications that we want to be updated by this procedure. So, for example, let's choose this, and let's choose this. You can add as many software as you wish, and click save, and then the procedure is ready to be executed on devices. So now, how to run a procedure. It's the same with all kinds of procedures. You can either go to procedures section, select one procedure and click run. Here, as you can see, you can run a procedure on all devices, or you can choose the devices that you wish to be this procedure to be executed, or you can choose a device group which consists of one or more devices, or you can also choose users. It means that all of the devices of a user will be, this procedure will be run on all of the devices of this user. You can also choose user groups, or you can choose customers. And this means that all the devices will get the procedure command under this customer, or under whatever customer that you would like to push the procedure. And you hit the run button, then the command is sent to the endpoints and the procedure will start executing. So let's move to scheduling of a procedure. As I said, the procedures can be scheduled over profiles. So let's go to profile section. Let's create a profile. As you can see, there are 5 options. Here, today we will cover Windows profiles. So let's create a Windows profile. As you can see, the profile is created with one section, which is the general. You can set the profile, change the profile name. You can set the profile as default. It means that this profile will be applied once, whenever a new endpoint is enrolled to the system. All the endpoints will get this profile automatically. You can choose multiple profiles as default, which means that all the profiles will be pushed to the newly enrolled endpoints. On top hand side, you will see add profile section, and here it is where we will schedule procedures. As you can see, there are a lot of sections, and one of them is procedures. This is what we need. And when you add procedures section, you will see a list of procedures which are added into this profile. By clicking add button, you will choose the procedure, approved procedure, to be scheduled. So let's choose this one. This procedure will detect the 10 most disk consuming files on an endpoint. And here on scheduled settings, you can either choose a custom schedule, or you can choose to schedule on a maintenance window. We will cover this on upcoming webinars, maintenance windows. So I will choose custom schedule. We have to choose a start date. For example, let's schedule Saturdays. And we need to choose either daily, weekly, or monthly scheduling options. So let's choose weekly. So I want to schedule this procedure every Saturday on 6 a.m. And on end time settings, we can either choose to schedule this procedure indefinitely. It means that it will execute every Saturday. We can choose an end time for it. For example, let's choose 9th of May, which means that it will run for 3 weeks and then it will just stop running. We have to choose the elevation. This means that some of the procedures, some of the scripts need a higher elevated user. That's why we need to choose either local system user or logged in user. So we suggest you to be careful about this choice. We suggest you to use logged in user as much as you can. But if you don't have any choice, and if you need some elevated permissions on the endpoint, please choose local system user. Otherwise, the procedure will fail. You can choose to run this procedure immediately when the schedule is complete. Profile is assigned to a new device. Or you can skip the procedure if the device is offline. And again, you can send the resulting logs by email. It is the same with the procedure section. You can either send to current user or you can type some emails to be sent. And when we add it, you can see that the line is appeared. And if you have more procedures, you can add as many procedures as you can, and you can schedule, give different schedules to different procedures here. And also, you have the option to give orders to procedures here. So it means that the order with highest lowest number means that this procedure will be executed on the device first, and then the second one will come, and then the third one will come. So let's click save, and we will have this procedure executed on every device which has this profile assigned to them on a weekly basis, and it will run on every Saturday at 6 a.m. So this is how we schedule a procedure. And now I want to talk about the auto-remediation upon when a monitor is triggered. So let's go to monitor section and choose a monitor that we have. And when we choose click edit button, here you can see the general options for the monitors. You can change the name, folder, description. You can choose the alert conditions. You can give more than one condition. And also you can choose to have an auto-remediation script upon when this monitor is triggered. So when we click run below procedure, it asks for us to enter, start typing the procedure name. And let's choose this one. If the procedure has some parameters, it will be shown here. This procedure doesn't have a parameter, therefore the warning message is shown. So nothing has to be configured. And when we click save, it is done. And it means that when this monitor is triggered, so let's check the conditions of this monitor. It has one condition, which is the free space left on all drives, and the condition is less than 30%. So it means that when any drive, any logical drive, free space becomes less than 30%, it will trigger an alert. And when the alert is triggered, the auto-remediation script, which is this cleanup procedure, will start working on the endpoint to clean up some space on the endpoint. And hopefully it will save some space and the alert will be turned off. So it helps you to automate the alerts, the monitors, so that you can automatically take action on any endpoint that you have. So that's all for today's topics. If you would like, I would be, if you have any question, I would be more than happy to help you. So please, you can ask your questions by chat. You can ask verbally. Does anyone have any question?
That's it. Brilliant. So let's go and see there. Yeah, so what you're going to do for me is you're going to try and connect back to the Kindle again. So just go and put in and make sure.
Okay, I think we have some questions on chat. Okay, so which versions of Python can we use for creating procedures? Actually, I need to check this. And if you share your email with me, I will get back to you as soon as possible. So how can the ticket generated by a procedure be automatically assigned to the customer? Could you please extend this question, because I didn't get completely what you mean by the customer. By the way, you can talk also.
I have businesses that I manage, and when the monitors kick off that it's high CPU usage and I have to intervene and see what's going on, it creates a ticket for me, but the tickets are all just in my name. So if I do a report at the end of the month, I would like to see those tickets show up under each individual customer or business, as you will.
I see. So I will copy your question, and we will cover how to manage service desk tickets, automated service desk tickets, in a separate webinar session, because it is not exactly about today's topics.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was under the impression that multiple profiles would affect white labeling. Is that not the case anymore for multiple profiles? Actually, we support white labeling for multiple profiles, but we still don't have a profile prioritization which will, I think, come into place in 1 or 2 months later. So then you will be able to order your profiles on your devices so that white labeling can be ordered as well. Maintenance window service currently misbehaving. Yes, we have a known issue about maintenance windows, and it will be fixed with the next release, which will be done next week. What about receiving the procedure output by email? The email doesn't show the device details log, but the execution state only. Currently, the execution logs are sent, but if you would like, I will take your suggestion as a feature request and work on that as soon as possible to be able to also provide you that kind of detailed email log. Are there any predefined parameters for scripts such as the device ID from ITSM? No, there is not. You have to enter parameters and define the parameters yourself. But this is actually a good suggestion. So I will also take this as a feature request. So thank you for your suggestions. How can the ticket generated by a procedure be automatically? Okay, this was already covered. Microsoft has released several updates recently, mostly optional ones. How do we actually block these from installing on my customer's machines? When the procedure fails, such as an antivirus scan, what is the remediation here? Does the scan resume by itself afterwards, or does it need a script action to repeat the scan? Yes, it needs to have a script action to repeat the scan automatically, if you would like. How do we actually block these from installing on my customer's machine? So if I understand you correctly, Rob, you want to not install the optional operating system patch, right? Okay. So in that case, if you do not choose updates, which means the optional updates actually, by the way, we can, I think we should, it would be better if we change the wording here. It means that the optional updates won't get installed. Exactly, yes. Okay, Sean, I got your email and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for your question. When I accidentally selected multiple profiles, it would take out the white label settings until I only set a single default profile. As I said, it is currently applying only the latest applied profile setting. So if you have some white labeling options on a profile, and then you add another profile to a device, also having the white labeling settings, the latest profile that is applied on the profile will get affected. But as I said, we have profile ordering feature on our roadmap, and it will be available in, I think, 2 months, so that you can order your profiles, and the topmost profile with having white labeling settings will affect on the endpoint. Okay, are there any other questions? I'm interested in example this cleanup script, where it is located. You can find the script from here. Let me find it. Okay, please share your email and then I will share the script with you. Thank you. My automated reporting shows up blank. I've tried multiple different options, but when I receive the report, it shows up blank. Which report are you talking about? Could you please extend your question? Hello? While waiting, I would like to answer Maurizio's question. Prioritization, yes, it is already being worked on and will be coming. But sequential executions for procedures, it's already there. So as I showed you from profiles, you can give ordering to your procedures. So it means that first the first item will get executed, then the second one will get executed. They are waiting for each procedure to be finished. So on-demand reports, weekly ticket summary. Okay, please, could you please ask this question over the forum, or we can also, let me take my notes. We will definitely have a webinar session for reporting sections, and we will cover this question on that session. Thank you. Okay, a question from Rob. An antivirus scan fails. We need an auto-remediation. We need to run a script to rerun the scan. Is there a default script for this? I don't think that there is a default script for this, but let me contact with our team and see what we can do about it, and I will get back to you as soon as possible for this request as well. Are there any other questions? Okay then, thanks everyone for joining on today's session. And have a nice weekend, and see you later. Thanks.